Hey friends, welcome back to writing. Today is Friday, May 8th. Let's have a quick flashback of what we did yesterday. Yesterday, you should have brainstormed a how-to text. Then, you should have used a Google Doc to write down all the information you will use today to write your how-to text. Remember, a how-to text is something that you can show or explain how to do something, like an activity, a craft you make, a food that you bake or cook. So for example, I chose how to bake chocolate chip cookies. So our target today is I can write a how-to text. Today you'll be able to write your text and explain all of the steps you need to do your activity. Our second target is I can explain the steps and how to do something. So today you should be able to tell someone how to complete an activity through your how-to writing. So what will we do today? I am sure that when you want to learn something new, you are given directions or instructions. For example, when my brother asked me to go to a baseball game with him, I looked up a how to play baseball article to learn more about the sport. Yesterday, we brainstormed a how-to activity and started to plan what we would write about in our informative text. Today, you will write at least 3 paragraphs. So our first paragraph is the introduction. Our first step is to write the introduction. We must remember to start our introduction with an interesting lead. We learned about this last week. You can use an interesting lead, including starting your lead with a question, setting the scene, and using an interesting fact. These are 3 different types of leads we talked about last week. You can use one of those today. Every good piece of writing has an introduction. So in your first paragraph, or your introduction, you're going to start with a lead, and then you're going to say what activity you'll be explaining and why you chose the activity. Then you might want to suggest who might enjoy the activity and give some reasons why and people should try it. So here's an introduction example. Have you ever wanted to learn how to bake chocolate chip cookies? Well, you've come to the right place. This is a text that will teach you how to make chocolate chip cookies. So if you are in need of something sweet, keep reading. So you can see in my introduction paragraph, I have a lead. This lead is a question. So in my lead, I asked, have you ever wanted to learn how to bake chocolate chip cookies? So this is a way to get our audience excited about what we're going to write about. So I used a question. Then I added in what I was going to be talking about or what I was going to teach people. So I wrote right in my lead, how to bake chocolate chip cookies. You can see it right here. I introduced what my topic was right in the lead. You can do this as well, or you can wait to the next sentence. Then I continued to write, well, you have come to the right place. This is a text that will teach you how to make chocolate chip cookies. Again, I reintroduced what my topic was. And then I introduced who this text will be for. So someone who wants something sweet, they should keep reading. So here is paragraph 2. Paragraph 2 will discuss the supplies and ingredients needed. So you want to make sure that you have your list of supplies, materials, or ingredients that you need to do your how-to activity. You're going to use the list you made during brainstorming and create that list into sentences. So this was my list I created yesterday. Flour, sugar, eggs, butter, baking soda, chocolate chips. And then I remembered I need to make sure I have a bowl and cookie sheets to be able to bake my cookies. So here's an example of a paragraph 2. Before we can start baking cookies, you're going to need some ingredients and tools to help you. You will want to make sure to have a bowl and a cookie sheet. You will also need the following ingredients: flour, sugar, eggs, butter, baking soda, and don't forget the chocolate chips. So in all of paragraph 2, you talk about what you're going to need to complete the activity. So paragraph 2 shouldn't be more than 3 to 4 sentences. Quick and easy, just explaining what you need. So you use the list that you created yesterday and make it into sentences. Then you can move on to paragraph 3. Paragraph 3 explains exactly how to do whatever it is you are teaching. So the steps that need to be completed. You will want to be sure to use details and explain completely how to do each step. Here is an example. The first thing you have to do for baking cookies is to preheat the oven. So this is my step 1. Preheat the oven. I also added in this part to make sure people aren't baking without supervision. Then you have to grab a bowl to put all the ingredients in. So the next step was grab a bowl. Next, you have to measure all of the ingredients and put it in the bowl. And then you have to mix it up. After it is all mixed up, you have to put it on a cookie sheet. So now you're ready to put it on a cookie sheet. And finally, you can put the cookies in the oven to bake. Remember to be careful when taking out the cookies. And then the last thing you have to do is take out the cookies. It is important for paragraph 3, when explaining the steps of the activity you're trying to teach, you use some transition words. So I'm going to put a check mark over each transition word I used. So here's the first one. The first thing you have to do for baking cookies. That shows the first step. Here's another transition word, then. So that shows the second step. Then we have next. That shows the third. And this part says, don't forget to mix it up. So the don't forget is leading into the next step. And then you have after it is all mixed up. Here's another transition. And we have finally. So make sure you have those transitions to make your writing 1, flow, and 2, make sure you get each step you have to complete for your how-to essay. So now we're going to talk about our 5th paragraph. So we've already completed 4 paragraphs. An introduction, a paragraph about the materials you need, a paragraph about the steps you need to do, and now we're on our 4th paragraph. So now that I have each part of my how-to text, I have to add a conclusion. We talked about adding a conclusion last week as well. It's a way to wrap up your writing. So here's an example of a conclusion for a how-to essay. Baking chocolate chip cookies is an important skill to have. It is also a fun hobby to do. Hopefully, these tips and directions will help you bake your own chocolate chip cookies. So you can see my 3 sentences, I've wrapped up my entire essay. It's explaining or recapping that I taught you how to bake chocolate chip cookies and explained how and why you should bake these cookies. So now I can put everything together. Here's my introduction paragraph. Have you ever wanted to learn how to bake chocolate chip cookies? Well, you have come to the right place. This is a text that will teach you how to make chocolate chip cookies. So if you are in need of something sweet, keep reading. Before we can start baking cookies, you're going to need some ingredients and tools to help you. You will want to be sure to have a bowl and cookie sheet. You will also need the following ingredients: flour, sugar, eggs, butter, baking soda, and don't forget the chocolate chips. The first thing you have to do for baking cookies is to preheat the oven. Then you have to grab a bowl to put all the ingredients in. Next, you have to measure all the ingredients and put it in the bowl. Don't forget to mix it up. After it is all mixed up, you have to put it on a cookie sheet. Finally, you can put the cookies in the oven to bake. Remember to be careful when taking out the cookies. Baking chocolate chip cookies is an important skill to have. It is also a fun hobby to do. Hopefully these tips and directions will help you bake your own chocolate chip cookies. So you can see this is my final draft. It was done quickly within 4 paragraphs. So these 4 paragraphs include everything you need to know about how to bake a chocolate chip cookie. So let's go ahead and review our target. I can write a how-to text. I can explain the steps on how to do something. We were able to do this together, and you were able to see an example of a how-to text. Your job today is to write your own. So now it is your turn. You will now write your how-to text in the Google document attached. Remember, you should have 4 paragraphs that include the following: an introduction, the 1 body paragraph that has materials or ingredients needed, a second body paragraph that explains the steps that you have to complete or do, and in conclusion, to wrap up everything that you have. Good luck! Remember, you can always come back to this video to see my example of how to bake a cookie. A how-to text is a very fun and easy way to be creative. You guys are going to do a great job, and I cannot wait to read your how-to text.